I don't even remember the trip back. I guess between the mental strain and the exhaustion, everything just sort of ran on autopilot until I was well back into the city. The eye was beginning to wane. I think I walked most of the trip back. Honestly, I had no idea how that was even possible given the condition of my leg, but I guess you get amazing results and your brain just sort of shuts off for an indeterminate period of time. Unfortunately for me, I was apparently back, aware and in control. It became increasingly discomforting, throbbing pain in my left leg and the growing fury in my stomach. I wanted to stop at a gas station along the street that connected back to Skid Row. One of the only saving graces I had in this entire shit show was being a hero, as well as a student. The student deemed fit to cover my medical and living expenses while I was on the mend. Not that I deserved either. No doubt it was the cheapest option on the table to claw back some positive PR for the horror show at the school. They needed a hero. They needed something they could prop up, because you can't just put everyone down. You know what? Fuck it. One less burden for me. What that meant is that I spent about 3 weeks having an all expenses paid stay in a hospital. Not having to spend money on food and shit like I usually did. I had a decent wad of cash burning in my pocket for once, and I felt like spoiling myself a little. Not on games or anime as usual. Truth be, I love the themes in this game. They're so good for reflection. I didn't even doom scroll or troll on my favorite to pack and clog making form. They make clogs in Tibet? At first, it was out of fear that the footage and news reports of what happened would invariably get posted on there, en masse, with all the terribly clever takes and comments that only a terminally online askline like myself, behind the veil of anonymity, could provide. I feel like the veil of anonymity is implied there, buddy. Don't need to include that. However, the more time had passed, the less I felt like it was even worth the effort to try and get back into it. No doubt, it wasn't exactly healthy, but the reality was that I had effectively spent the majority of my time in the last 3 weeks zoning out, sleeping. Probably why the most uplifting experience I had this morning was having some small talk with a hallucination of my dead girlfriend at a grave. I ever did end up talking to a shrink, that last tidbit is going with me to my grave. I thought that would only get me tossed into it. They don't do that anymore, Anon. But also the asshole probably published that. Anon, I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, but it's not that interesting. This isn't. You're way overselling this. I assure you, psychologists are way past that point. Ultimately, what this meant is that I had no idea what I was going to do now. And a lot of free time, no interests or motivations, and actually a bit of money to spend for once. I was going to walk into the gas station that was rapidly growing into my... How does it grow into your view? It's just... Whatever. Grab the nicest frozen food they had on offer. And see if I could get the guy working the evening shift to take pity on the poor crippled teenager and let me buy booze and smokes. If that didn't work, at least I'd have a halfway decent meal for the first time in weeks. Aren't you taking payments? You be careful with that and booze and drugs. Stuff. Passages. I think this plays when like your... Yeah, this sounds like kind of stuff that would play when you're using the passages ability to teleport places. If that didn't work, I'd have a half-day recent meal for the first time in weeks. You have way over-described this fucking visiting a place. Anon is buying food. Why is he giving so much emphasis? I guess it's because his brain finally tuned back in. The door played an annoying jingle as it opened, singing to everyone who was there there was a new arrival. If I was lucky, they wouldn't stare too much at the pathetic message. Wouldn't they be like, oh, it's that guy who was on the news? I shuffled towards the back refrigeration wall sections to look what they had on offer. Pizza? Pizza. Off-brand food tube of questionable contents that will inevitably be too hot on the outside. And a frozen brick on the inside. Come on, Inko. Get out of here. My eyes drifted about before finally landing on a few TV dinners. Whatever. It'll do. I grabbed the Salisbury steak special and hip checked the door closed. Right now for smoke some booze. The last of her old pack, but those were special. Those I would keep for when it mattered. Whatever the hell that's supposed to... What is that supposed to be? It's gonna be a pain in my ass to get it all up to the counter when only one available extra hand, but I'd figure it out. Besides, the guy working did let me buy the extra. If the guy did let me buy the extras, he'd probably have a bag I could use. I would open up the refrigerator section at the back wall and grab the cheapest six-pack they had. After shoving the frozen into my armpit to hold everything. Wrapped Jesus' left nipple, that was cold. I better hear this. Seriously, you're buying the cheapest thing they have? My eyes snapped open wide the same instant I had snapped. Don't snap twice. Left towards. So fast I felt my neck pop. Fang's eyes were staring me through the glass of the open door. What the Fang, you can only haunt me as a spooky ghost at the graveyard. You can't do it in shops. People are watching. They're gonna think you're silly. They're gonna look at you and go, oh, look at that silly goose. What the fuck? No, I guess not. I stammered and slid the beer back onto the shelf. Dweeb. Her eye caught something and she meandered off into the aisles. I stood ramrod stiff, frozen in place, only feeling my eyes turn into a little spectre as she walked out of my immediate line of sight. Oh my god, I am going crazy, aren't I? It was a really comforting idea that I saw a quaint little hallucination of her at the back of the gravestone. Almost cinematic, shit right out of a movie. And then, like those, when the movement was over, I'd leave and that would be the last of it. I, even did that cringe bullshit of turning around one last look thing. No, that's just a thing you do, man. Is that a thing you do? Not really. I think at some point you're like just committed to just getting the fuck out of there. My head tracked the form as the door closed, watching her crest bob up and down over the top of the shelves as she poked around the next aisle over. No, she was still there. Oh, Raptor, Jesus. I'm I cracked! My brain is scrambled like a shitty omelette. In retrospect, it was too convenient. I'm hardly the sort of asshole that deserves a nice little cap-off to the chapter of the story. Well, no, it's the final chapter. Especially when it dealt with the subject of my actual dead girlfriend. What the fuck was wrong with me? Thinking I just got a happy little moment. Of course your brain's slipping, you moron. You systemically destroyed her life, shattered her mind, and drove her to shoot up a school before she shot you and killed herself. And you spent 3 weeks in isolation in the hospital. Though shit, my mind was broken. God, I really am retarded sometimes, huh? No, you really are retarded. Why are you constantly doing this fucking past tense shit? I shifted myself to put weight onto the crutch as quietly as possible and hobbled around to the far end of the aisle. Before peeking my head around the end cap, stared as subtly as my bad ankle and crutch allowed. She leaned down, looking at something on the lower part of the shelf, quietly humming to herself. As if the implications of an ongoing, terrifyingly realistic hallucination of my girlfriend weren't at the forefront of my mind. It might have been cute. Annoyingly, the only thing that was sticking with me was the crowing cold sweat. Oh, I've had that. I had that once, and it was because I got they pulled my wisdom teeth out, but they only gave me sedation. So, like, I felt my skull crack as they pulled that shit out of there. So, yeah, when I was done, I was like, oh boy, I didn't feel shit, but man, did I feel that in my brain. Also on my skull. Because the sedation did stop the pain in my jaw. Did not stop the sensation of cracks traveling through my spine. Woo! Or the sounds. I had my eyes closed. I didn't see shit, but my god, the pressure on my head. Annoyingly, the only thing that was really sticking was a cold sweat. The employee at the register was fiddling with his phone, chin cropped on his other hand. I guess that whatever I was doing caught his attention, so he picked up looking at me. You alright back there, dude? Yeah, no, I'm good. I just dropped something. Alright, let me know if you need any help or whatever. He said before turning back to his phone. I guess that's the bare minimum he's expected to do. All the while, I've been staring at the guy straight through the ghostly visage of Fang. Looked exactly as I remember, just like at the cemetery, but I was really looking. Why are you transparent, Fang? Aren't your hallucinations supposed to be, like, physical and stuff? Same black, ripped pants, halter top boots combo. Even had a weird non-bi... No, that's a bisexual bracelet! But I guess you wouldn't know. And a bird skull necklace. She even had the orange and purple makeup. Exactly as I remembered. Like, you wore that outfit every single day of your life. You even died in it. Like, what the fuck? She was only tinged blue like fucking Photoshop filter, and I was pretty sure she was glowing slightly. It was the most asinine, stereotypical version of Ghost of a Loved One imaginable. It was my brain for being such an uninspired loser that I could have done better with it. I like how we're bringing this up now. I feel like this scene, like this picture, does not work if you only now establish this is the case. I'm just putting my little beans down on this. Her being see-through was what really clinched the whole trope-stastic deal, allowing me to carry the beef exchange with the cashier through as if she continued to hum away, oblivious to it. I didn't even blink about it, confirmed to me that it was all in my head. My absolute fucked up head. As much as I really needed a drink, I couldn't bring myself to go for it again. Whatever was the concern of what mind-altering substances we didn't already... No, and on a lot of people, they tend to lose the hallucinations when they get a drink, I've been told. That's why they go to drinking. Or a chance for prize from hallucination like before. Either way, I couldn't stomach the possible consequence. I pulled the frozen dinner out from under my armpit. Sensation of frozen cold before, but a vague, distant sensation. And as quickly as my leg and I hobbled back to the front of the store, taking the road furthest from her, that it allowed. I dropped the food on the counter with a clatter, bringing the guy's attention back to me. Anything else? No. You alright there, buddy? You weren't looking so hot. It's just been a long day. Just a really long one. You know, like 24 hours, buddy. I could hear scant tiny hairs on my neck standing up. They were right behind me. I don't want to look. You say so, man. Not that it's particularly helpful, Fuzz, but try to get some sleep. You look like you need it, the employee said, his voice taking a softer, more gentle tone. Ordinarily, I may have, in my head of course, I wasn't suicidal, fired off some snappy line about minding his own business, or that he was gay or something. Anna, you would never say that. You're too big of a fucking loser to. You're not even one of those cool 4chaners who has the guts to do it in real life. You're just a loser. You're like, oh man, I totally would have, I totally told him, he says on, he posts online, I totally told him. Come on, man. The whole point's that you're a big fat loser. You can't be that person because that's counter to the story. You conform to the themes. Haha. But no, he was clearly right. And by the time you do have the guts, you don't want to do it anymore. That's the story. He's clearly right. I need to go home, get some sleep. Even if I wasn't feeling hungry anymore, I needed the current situation to be done and over as fast as possible. Not getting beer at all? Shame. What a help with that sad excuse of food down here. A shiver rocked my body. Sorry. Hey, dude, I gotta apologize to me. I've had some serious bad day too, you know? I completely get it. Just try to carry yourself right. I wasn't sure if I answered him or her. If I did answer, how much worse did it be was that a man as I was talking to her? Finished punching in the cell and rattled off the amount. Slapped down a 10 limit count, and I like how this is considered spoiling. Spending 10 on a big old meal. I don't know how fancy that was. Also, isn't that like a lot for an American? I definitely wasn't eating when I got home. I was long gone. The meal would keep well enough in the freezer built into the freezer built into the fridge. Why don't you just say the freezer? If I was feeling better, I'd eat it in the morning. As I began to hobble to the door, I could him and call out about the change. Don't need to get out of here ASAP! I think I muttered some kind of reply, but I wasn't entirely sure. Tunnel vision closed in around my view on my way home. I've had that once, but like for completely goofy reasons. It's really weird. If I could hold myself up, hide under my blankets like I was fucking 5 years old again, and found some semblance of sanity when the morning arrived, all would be right in the world. You know what? Fuck it. I feel like ending the recording. Oh, let's go. What a cool little song. We've got Alex one. It's another theme. Oh shit! It's the shit that plays when you're inside of 5 Pebbles. That's so awesome. I love this shit. It's so fucked up. Random gods. They are like gods to you. I love that part. And even the iterators die in the same thing. It's so great. It took too many tries for my keys to finally slip into the doorknob to my apartment. Every few... Oh shit! It's got that part too! Ugh. Every few seconds I saw it glance over next to me, confirming that it was still there! Casually leaning against the wall like she was still alive, just following me home for a casual visit. It was unnerving. Finally working the lock, I swung the door open. And while I was tossing the meal on the counter, the figure slipped into my apartment behind me, walking up and sitting on the edge of my bed. I'd be more upset at missing the chance to close the door if I didn't already know. They would just show up whenever to freak me out anyways, like it was doing it on purpose. I just really like this track. It's so like, I can't comprehend this. This is awe in sound form. But like the discordant kind of awe. As they looked around the room, it continued to have a generally light, amused expression. Like my smashed-up shadow of an apartment with some quaint, nostalgic memory. I let out a groan, grabbed a dinner, tossing it into the empty freezer of my fridge. I didn't want to have to deal with anything anymore now. All I wanted to do was try and get some sleep. If there was a God, with even an ounce of mercy to it, he would grant me this one favor. I think you've gotten a lot of favors already, buddy. My crutch clattered on the floor as I limped my way over to bed. The leg hurt, and I should probably take some pain meds before sleeping, but I couldn't be bothered to do that either. That was tomorrow's problem. I made a slight detour to flip out the light. That's not a fucking detour! Your house is not that big! Which normally would have had the entire room fall into pitch darkness. But it has one perfect final fuck you from my own brain. That thing is emitting an eerie pale blue light. Stop being a spooky ghost bag, and he throws a can at her. Because of course it did. if Fang is emitting light, that's a physical. Like, I think that your hallucination can't emit light in the physical sense of like bloom around the edges. But if Fang is emitting light in the environment, like your brain is not smart enough to do that in real time. Most people aren't. That's the point where you know. Because of course it did. At least I wasn't gonna trip over any shit that was left on the floor gunning into bed. As I approached the bed, it took notice of me, flashing me a small smile. There was a stare back for a little moment, then she finally fucking goes back. There'd been an amused expression like she often had when she said something funny, but that smile was faltering. My exhausted stare, its face fell to an uncertain... I like how it's an it now. I don't like this, though. You're kind of mixing up your pronouns. However, I do like the implication that it's an it now, because even my madness was beginning to feel to uphold the farce of a happy memory of her. Awesome! So I lifted my casted leg onto the bed. It shuffled over to let me pass. Yeah, thanks, spooky ghost. Shit, I missed the part that I like the most about that song. I think this is my favorite part, because I think it's like a theme that comes back a few times. Ooh, yeah, that also shows on theme 1 and 2, I think. That's probably why it's called theme. 3. Thanks, I muttered again on reflex. It hummed back, watching me climb on the bed. I didn't feel like throwing the blankets over me. I just needed to be morning. Hopefully a morning where I'd gotten enough sleep that I wasn't imagining Fang sitting in my room like a schizo! Hey, it said. Why does everyone keep using big words like vocalization? I flinched at the sudden call. God! It was freaking out what my mind remembered a voice. If you're going to sleep, can you at least turn on the TV for me? I don't know how long this'll take. What would take? Me being certifiably insane? Well, Mrs. Hallucination, if you're lucky, it won't be all that much longer. Would hate to inconvenience you. I grumbled a non-committal word. Also, you're glowing. Can you turn off the fucking nightlight? And just swipes it in there. Rolling over to grab the remote from my nearby desk and thumbed the power button. I clicked through a few channels until I hit on some news program. I wasn't sure why I was doing that. I'd be asleep soon enough, and then it wouldn't matter. I was worried that I didn't acquiesce to it. It'd go full poltergeist on me and make the last bit of my evening even worse. Maybe it was because it was her. Felt like a small favor I could do in a sorry attempt to band-aid things. I wasn't sure which of the two was worse. Thanks. Good night, Dweeb. Good night. I mumbled back, keeping the vague, nonsensical civility rolling. Please, brain, just let me go to sleep. I rolled over, putting my back to it, with the sound of the TV actor's white noise. I like how you're... I like how you're on the news. Shouldn't you be careful about that? Because you don't want to see it? I wasn't really one to fall asleep to the TV or anything, but I did have some late night, or early morning, depending on your outlook, gaming sessions where I found myself passed out holding the controller. It's not really the same. The hallucination. Wasn't saying anything yet now, and I didn't sense it moving around. Guess my mind was content with it flopping in front of the TV until I finally passed out. A grim reminder of how I wasted that entire day after our fight. After Fang wrecked my apartment. Before Fang came over. Got up a little tighter. Should have done more. Oh, fuck! We're switching to Fang? You should have started with Fang if you're going to do POV swaps, man. Like I said, you can really sell the fucking pitch of this story by starting off with Fang, like, bleeding out on the floor and, like, not dying fast enough. Or, like, talking about being in this cold, weird space and being unsure what day of the week it is. It was something like that. I don't know, man. You gotta fucking up now!